Welcome, everyone. And what we're going to talk about today is the number one advice I ever received as a coach. And this is the advice that has carried me through so many seasons of wondering if I was really cut out for this. Have you ever felt that way? Or wondering if I could ever get to the point that I actually felt like I knew what I was doing? Have you ever felt like that? And wondering if anyone else ever feels the way I do. So I'm curious, have you ever felt this way? And I want you to know that even as an MCC coach, I've clocked over 10,000 hours, and I still feel this way at times. But this advice that I received early on in my education has helped me to keep everything in perspective. And I want to give this to you for yourself so that when you're having those times where you're unclear and you're wondering, are you really cut out for this? Is it really worth it? Hopefully this will give you perspective as well. Hi, my name is Cheryl Scanlon, and welcome to Mentor Coach Insights. Our aim is to help you become the best coach you can be to help you achieve exactly that. You're not going to become the best coach that I can be. You're going to be the best coach that you can be. And maybe that's actually a sub piece of advice to the one that I'm going to give to you. You shouldn't try to be me or try to be any other coach. You need to become the coach that you were called to be. So here's what's happened. Once I made this decision to become a coach, I wanted to do whatever I could to accelerate my success, right? So we're getting into this business, we're working hard, we're taking these classes, the money is going out, and we want the money to come in. I was trying so hard as a coach to get ahead. But here's what I found happening. It seemed like every class I took, I was learning new things. But as I was learning these new things, I felt like I was getting farther behind. I was becoming more aware of what I didn't know. And the little that I did know didn't seem like it was enough to get me going. Now, take into consideration as well, we don't have a board certification like many of the health professions, like law, like nursing, like counseling. So it's not like you have this massive milestone that you can reach that you can finally say, oh, I have arrived. Well, my instructor was noticing me working so hard and finally pulled me over to the side one day. And this is what she said to me, and I hope that you will write this down and really think about this. She said, Cheryl, the minute you feel like you've arrived as a coach, you need to stop coaching. She went on to explain that while we are shooting for a specific target, we are aiming at a moving target. And it's not necessarily a target that's moving back and forth. It's a target that's always going to be a little bit beyond our grasp. Now, at first, I was very frustrated by this advice. I wanted to conquer. I wanted to win. I wanted to know that I had arrived. And I was struggling with the question of, when do I officially become a coach? When I got my first paying client, who happened to be my physical therapist? Was it when I got the certificate from my training, which was 125 hours of training? Was it when I got my credential from ICF? Well, I have to tell you that even when I became an ACC ICF credential, I still didn't feel like an official coach. I felt like I was living in this very nebulous land. And the reality was, and this is still the reality, anyone can call themselves a coach. So when did I really become a coach? When did I arrive? But then something shifted in me, and this is what I want to give to you today. I'm hoping that you can borrow from my 10,000 hours and save yourself some of the angst and the toil that I've been through. I came to realize as I continued growing as a coach that my instructor was right. You see, each client I had brought in new opportunities, new personalities, new circumstances, new struggles, things that I'd never encountered. And I found that she was right, that the client target was always moving. It was always slightly beyond my grasp. Now take what's going on with the client and add the industry itself. The coaching industry is continually evolving. The credentialing process changes, education requirements adjust, definitions of coaching, for example, the core competencies, are refined and expanded. And no longer, for example, is it about life and performance coaching. Now there's just about every kind of coaching under the sun that anyone can imagine. So as I started to face these two things, the first was, wow, my clients keep bringing me things that I don't understand and I don't get. And every time I think I've got the coaching industry figured out, it changes. So these are two things that were massively out of my control. I started to relax into my own process. And I stopped trying to prove to myself, to me, through my coaching engagements. Let me say this again. I stopped trying to prove myself to me through my coaching engagements. Because in that regard, then your coaching is no longer about the client, but it's about you. And we're not really bringing our best to the coaching anymore. The client is going to start to feel this tug and war between us and ourselves. And it's going to break down that engagement. So these words, "you'll never arrive," began to loosen something up in me. Not that I'm not going to be on a continual quest to improve. I mean, I may be an MCC coach, but I need to tell you, I still haven't arrived as a coach. I may have 10,000 hours, but I still haven't arrived as a coach. There is so much more for me to learn and so many things I still don't understand. But it was no longer about trying to hit the bullseye. It was simply about keep aiming for the bullseye. And in this regard, I have grown and continue to grow greatly as a coach, and my clients were reaping the benefits. I'm lighter on my feet during the calls. I'm more flexible during our conversations. I'm more confident in my ability to challenge the client. Why? Because the target is always just a little bit beyond my grasp, stretching me, challenging me to be more, and to see and learn the true power of the coaching conversation, to unleash as I yielded more and more to the process of learning and growing as a coach rather than arriving as a coach. So what's the accomplishment in all this for me? Well, the accomplishment was no longer about reaching this climactic point of accomplishment. For then I would begin to settle. My clients would begin to get bored, and my professional development would become stale. Instead, that advice, "you never arrive," has helped me to realize that my greatest contribution to my client success is my continued learning and growth as a coach. Thank you so much for your time today.